Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I am Ashmit Kumar. Here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Sensex and Nifty post the biggest single-day fall in 2 months. Bank stocks come under pressure. Both indices managed to end with marginal gains this week. Bajaj Auto launches the most powerful Pulsar yet at an introductory price of 1.85 lakh rupees. Rajiv Bajaj tells CNBC TV18 that the company will launch a new sub-1 lakh electric scooter this month, a CNG bike in June, and an e-rickshaw very soon. Urges next government to focus on ease of doing business. Apple achieves record quarterly revenue in India, even as global sales declined 4%. Tim Cook says he could not be more excited about growth in India. Apple also announces the largest buyback ever at $110 billion as global iPhone sales drop 10%. No relief for real money online gaming companies. Supreme Court also refuses to restrain tax authorities from issuing fresh show-cause notices, allows more time to the central government to file its response, and is likely to take up this matter in the month of July. Rahul Gandhi files his nomination from Raebareli as the Gandhi family opts out of Amethi for the first time in 25 years. Prime Minister Modi takes a jibe at Rahul Gandhi, saying he's running scared from one seat to another. Supreme Court observes it may need to consider an interim bail for Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal due to the ongoing elections. ED argues that Kejriwal has not even applied for bail. Court will hear the matter once again on the 7th of May. More than 2,000 students arrested across U.S. colleges as police crack down on pro-Palestine protests. U.S. President Joe Biden denounces the chaos and insists that order must prevail, but also promises not to quash dissent.
I think we're all wondering, when's the inflection point where AI just fundamentally changes all of our businesses? We all know it's coming. I don't think anybody knows when it's coming.
Artificial intelligence will disrupt Airbnb more than any other hospitality business, says co-founder and CEO Brian Chesky. Expects big changes within a few years. That's a CNBC TV18 exclusive. WhatsApp bans over 2.2 crore accounts in India between January to March this year, almost 70% higher than the 1.3 crore accounts that were banned in the same period last year. The increase in banned accounts underscores the growing challenge platforms face in maintaining user safety and combating misuse. Go First's grounding completes 1 year, but there's little progress in the resolution process. Industry experts say after DGCA deregistering all planes, the airline will mostly likely head towards liquidation than revival. Also on the show, low demand for election merchandise at Delhi's Sardar Bazaar Hospital, even as poll fever grips India. Traders say that political parties investing more on online campaigns, but remain hopeful. A special report coming up. Well, let's begin with a quick look at the day's market action. Now, it was a weak end to a flat week for the markets as it recorded its biggest intraday fall in 2 months' time. Bank stocks came under pressure. All Nifty bank components ended this week in the red. Both the indices managed to end the week with marginal gains. However, Surbhi Upadhyay decoding all the market action for us for today and for the week. Surbhi.
Well, it was a week of consolidation on the street, and the end was a little on the quiet side because on Friday we got a sell-off without any apparent reason. Global markets were holding up. There were no major earning triggers that led to it, but it was sort of just profit-taking that swept through, and the net result was that all the key indices, the Bank Nifty, even the mid-cap index, all of them ended on the red side of the screen. The selling was fairly widespread. I'll give you a sectoral example. It was IT, real estate, oil and gas, a lot of auto stocks leading with Maruti, a lot of them facing pressure. In fact, PSUs were the only one where there was little specks of green here and there. BHEL, for instance, did well. Coal India on the index, despite sort of sketchy numbers for the fourth quarter, that stock saw a very, very good recovery. So PSUs are still getting the money. That's point number one. The other key drags on the Nifty were a lot of big blue chips, the big boys, L&T, Reliance, Bharti Airtel. These stocks were really down and out. Look at Bajaj Finance. I mean, the mood was quite apparent. The manner in which the stock just could not hold on the morning highs, with the RBI finally approving 2 of its key product segments. But even then, I mean, what started as a 6% pop finally fizzled out by the time we closed up. The gainers, as I said, included Coal India, Grasim, and some commodity names like ONGC and Hindalco did well. The week itself has been all about consolidation. I mean, for the week gone by, the Nifty is up 2%. The Bank Nifty is the one that's done much better, 1.5% higher. The mid-cap index is down about 0.3%. And it's been more about individual stocks-specific action on earnings or corporate news than the market as a whole. I'll just give you some examples before signing out. HCL Tech down 8% this week because of poor numbers. Apollo Hospitals and the transaction they've done with Apollo 24/7, the market having its questions on it, 4% down for that stock this week. And Kotak Mahindra Bank and all of their regulatory woes down 4% this week as well. And Coforge was down, by the way, 10% because of certain issues with the Q4 earnings print and the Signity acquisition that they've done, over which the market has its own sort of issues and questions. So short point, it's been very stock specific. It's going to be the US jobs report that will set the tone when we come back to trade on Monday morning.
So largely flat this week. Thanks a lot, Surbhi, for that update. Now, the big newsmaker this evening, Bajaj Auto, is powering up its product pipeline with the launch of its most powerful Pulsar yet at an introductory price of 1.85 lakh rupees. Speaking exclusively to CNBC TV 18, Managing Director Rajiv Bajaj has said that the company will launch a new sub 1 lakh rupees electric scooter this month. He also said that Bajaj Auto plans to launch more vehicles under the EV portfolio, adding that the company will roll out its e-rickshaw very soon.
There will always be a better Pulsar. Very often than not, it means a bigger Pulsar. 50% of Royal Enfield, which would be about 35% or so of the market, maybe a little more. Hopefully in 6 months' time, it will take that much time to rev up production for this particular motorcycle. Our capacity is 40,000 a month, roughly 500,000 a year. As we begin to approach this capacity in 6 months' time, then we will review the need to expand. The CNG motorcycle, I can say to you that it is due next month. We are almost production ready. The first CNG motorcycle in the world, and a motorcycle that halves the running cost as compared to its petrol bike. Start with a capacity of 20,000 a month, which is really quite minuscule, because in our view, this motorcycle in the Indian market alone addresses a space of almost 600,000 motorcycles. We are about to launch yet another Chetak this month, so our Chetak portfolio will be 3 scooters. And as I said to you, as I shared with you some time back, there will always be at least one new Chetak every year. So something later this year, and for sure next year, we have something distinctly different. It's not just another refresh on the existing Chetak, but a new platform itself. So Chetak will get both smaller and smaller and smaller. And Chetak will also get bigger, and Chetak may well get 3 wheels, and Chetak may well get 4 wheels.
Well, from auto now to the world of tech, Apple achieved record quarterly revenue in India, even as global sales declined by 4%. CEO Tim Cook has said that he could not be more excited about growth in India. Speaking at a post-earnings call, Cook said, and I quote here, "I see it as an incredibly exciting market, and it's a major focus for us. In terms of the operational side or supply chain side, we are producing there. From a pragmatic point of view, you need to produce there to be competitive," end quote. Apple also announced the largest buyback ever at $110 billion. This even as global iPhone sales dropped 10% on an annual basis. Hormaz Fatakia joining us now with more details. Hormaz, Cook is certainly hot on India. Help us crunch these numbers.
Well, if you were to make a list of people who are bullish on India, we would definitely put Tim Cook right on top, because he's always been extremely bullish when it comes to his commentary on the Indian markets. Now, on the earnings call for Apple, the CEO mentioned that the Indian market saw strong double-digit growth in their quarterly performance. Although he did not specify the number, but he did mention that it was a strong double-digit growth. The new March quarter revenue was a record high for Apple, is what he said. And as always, as he has been maintaining all through, he mentioned that India is an incredibly exciting market and a major focus for Apple going forward. And that is also taken into consideration, considering the slowdown that the Chinese markets are seeing for Apple. And he also spoke about producing within the country to be competitive in the Indian market. So he spoke about the Make in India focus process as well for Apple, and he said that he's seeing enormous opportunity in the country. Now, what is Apple doing here is that they are expanding their channels and working on the developer ecosystem within the country so that they can, and they are also seeing a rapidly growing base of developers within the country. So he remains pretty excited and bullish on the prospects for the country. When it comes to the results, Apple reported a 4.5% drop in overall revenue for the quarter, but that was not as bad as the street feared. So the numbers were still above estimates. Globally, the iPhone sales were also down 10%, but what spurred the stock higher in after hours trading was the buyback announcement that Apple made. It was $110 billion that it announced, the quantum of the buyback, and this is the largest ever in US history. And if we take a look at the top 10 buybacks in US history, the top 6 belong to Apple, and that range from anywhere between $90 billion to the $110 billion that it announced last night, and 3 of them belong to Alphabet. So 9 out of the 10 belong to the big tech companies, and 1 is Chevron, which also announced a $75 billion buyback a couple of years ago. So all in all, the numbers were not as bad as feared, but strong commentary coming in from the Indian markets from Tim Cook's table. Back to you.
Right, Hormaz, thanks a lot for that. More earnings action now. Titan's fourth quarter earnings missed the street's expectations on most parameters. On an annual basis, the company's net profit rose by more than 7%, while revenue jumped 16%. The watch and jewelry maker has also announced a dividend of 11 rupees per share. Titan has also appointed C.K. Venkatramanan as the managing director of the company with effect from the 1st of October 2024. And India's highest priced stock, MRF, announced a final dividend of 194 rupees or 1,940% per equity share with a face value of 10 rupees each. The tyre manufacturer's revenue rose by over 8% to 6,200 crore rupees in the fourth quarter. And while Bajaj Finance's shares rose in early trade after the Reserve Bank lifted digital lending restrictions on the company, and that's coming in after 6 months. The central bank has allowed the company to disperse loans via its products eCom and Insta EMI card. Ritu Singh joining us now with more details. Ritu, certainly a big relief there for Bajaj Finance, but tell us, what are the brokerages making of this RBI move?
A relief it is for Bajaj Finance because it can now restart lending through its 2 products, eCom and digital EMI cards, after RBI lifted the restrictions on the lender after nearly 6 months. This comes after the company recently formally submitted its request to RBI for review and removal of these restrictions. If you recall, the embargo on Bajaj Finance was placed in November last year for deficiencies in issuing the key fact statement to borrowers, which essentially captures the summary of the charges, rates and other information on the loan. Now, brokerages see this as positive largely, especially given the fact that the resolution took less than 6 months only. Jeffries noted that Bajaj saw an impact of more than 10% on new loans booked and 4% on a consolidated basis because of these restrictions, and now the removal of the ban improves the growth visibility. Macquarie also hailed the move as positive, but interestingly, the brokerage has also linked the duration of the ban on entities to the requirement of external audit. So what does it mean? Essentially, if you take, for example, Bajaj was very quick to see resolution because there was no external audit that was mandated by RBI, whereas in the case of HDFC Bank, where there was an RBI mandated external audit, it took 15 months for the restrictions to be lifted. So it is possible for the likes of IIFL Finance, where a special audit may take lesser time, but Macquarie believes that Kotak Mahindra Bank also needs to go through an external audit process, and so it could take them another 12 months. So Bajaj Finance out of the woods, and now the focus of course shifts to other entities that are still facing restrictions from the RBI.
Right, Ritu, thanks a lot for that. Now, Raymond has reappointed Gautam Hari Singhania as its managing director for a term of 5 years, effective from the 1st of July. Singhania's reappointment comes at the expiration of his current term and is subject to retirement by rotation. This comes after his estranged wife, Nawaz Modi Singhania, made several allegations against him. She was recently removed from the boards of 3 privately held Raymond Group companies. And cash-strapped edtech firm Byju's has cleared the salaries of employees for the month of April. Sources tell us that Byju's utilized some of the debt raised and revenue generated to pay the salaries. However, February and March salaries are yet to be paid in full to all employees. Additionally, the National Company Law Tribunal is set to hear Oppo's insolvency application against Byju's on May 28th. Sources tell us that Byju owes about 1 crore rupees to Oppo. Now, Baiju's total dues in another NCLT case hover in the range of 2 to 5 crore rupees. And on to the latest in the case involving online gaming companies, petitions against 28% GST levy. The Apex Court will now hear the petitions that challenge notices demanding 28% GST on the full face value of bets, and that will be coming up in the month of July. This as the centre did not reply to concerns raised by the gaming companies by the 22nd of April as directed by the Apex Court. The centre has now given time till the 15th of May to the government to file its response. The Apex Court also refused to restrain the DGGI from issuing fresh show cause notices to online gaming companies. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has dismissed PhonePe's plea against DigiPay for alleged trademark infringement. The digital payments app argued that DigiPay's use of the suffix pay could mislead the consumers. However, the Supreme Court observed that the term pay has become increasingly common in various businesses and that this follows Madras High Court's dismissal of PhonePe's appeal. In some international news now, the war in Gaza continues to rage on, with Israel launching fresh attacks on the overcrowded city of Rafah. At least 6 persons, including 4 children, were killed overnight after Israeli raids. Hamas has sent another delegation to Cairo for a ceasefire talk. More than 34,500 Palestinians have been killed so far in this war, according to the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry. Arrested across U.S. colleges as police continue to crack down on pro-Palestine protests. According to the Associated Press, the arrests have been made across 35 campuses since a tent encampment began at Columbia University on April 17th. Speaking on the protests, U.S. President Joe Biden has denounced the chaos and insisted that order must prevail.
We are not an authoritarian nation where we silence people or squash dissent. Peaceful protest in America. Violent protest is not protected. Peaceful protest is. There's the right to protest, but not the right to cause chaos.
And coming up on India Business Hour, low demand for election merchandise at Delhi's Sadar Bazaar. Even as poll fever grips India, traders say that political parties are investing more on online campaign, but still remain hopeful. A special report coming up. You are watching India Business Hour. After weeks of suspense, the Congress party has released names of candidates for the Lok Sabha seats of Amethi and Raebareli in Uttar Pradesh. Rahul Gandhi will be contesting from Raebareli, which is his mother Sonia Gandhi's represented for 2 decades. He filed his nomination today. When it comes to Lok Sabha elections, Raebareli has remained largely a Congress bastion for over 4 decades. Rahul Gandhi will be contesting against BJP's Dinesh Pratap Singh, who has been nominated from this seat for the 2nd consecutive time. He lost against Sonia Gandhi in 2019, but reduced her vote share significantly. Singh had left Congress and switched to the BJP in the year 2018. For the first time in 25 years, however, no member of the Gandhi family will be contesting from Amethi. Congress has fielded Kishori Lal Sharma, a loyalist of the Gandhi family. Sharma played a key role in Sonia Gandhi's first win in Amethi in 1999. He will be contesting BJP Smriti Irani. Irani had defeated Rahul Gandhi by over 55,000 votes in 2019. During a rally in West Bengal, Prime Minister Narendra Modi slammed the Congress for fielding Rahul Gandhi from Raebareli instead of Amethi. The Prime Minister said that he is scared and is running from one seat to another.
उनके सारे चेले चपाटे कह रहे थे अमेठी आएंगे, लेकिन अमेठी से भी इतने डर गए, वहां से भागकर अब रायबरेली में खोज रहे हैं रास्ता। ये लोग गुम कर सबको कहते हैं डरो मत। मैं भी आज उन्हें कहता हूं और बड़े जी भर के कहता हूं, अरे डरो मत, भागो मत।
आप सबको मालूम है कि किशोरी जी यहां से चुनाव लड़ेंगे। आप इनको मेरे ख्याल से आप शायद 35 या 40 सालों से जानते हैं। अमेठी की गली गली जानते हैं, गांव गांव जानते हैं, हर कार्यकर्ता को जानते हैं, पहचानते हैं और यहाँ की जो समस्याएं हैं, यहाँ की जो मुश्किलें हैं, उनको अच्छी तरह से जानते हैं।
Well, sticking to elections in the world's largest democracy, it's a mammoth exercise and involves huge political spending by key parties. According to the Center for Media Studies, if this election expenditure in 2019 Lok Sabha elections was roughly around 60,000 crore rupees, it could rise sharply to 1.35 lakh crore rupees this time around. Now, as per estimates, almost 30% of election expenditure by political parties goes into marketing and publicity during campaigns. Now, CNBC TV 18's Megha Sen visited Delhi Sadar Bazaar, where traders once sold election merchandise worth lakhs every day, but today are struggling because of the rise in digital marketing and use of AI. Here's the report.
Election fervour is at its peak at Delhi's buzzing wholesale market Sadar Bazaar, which is considered as the hub for election merchandising. Shops here are full of political campaign merchandise like caps, flags, t-shirts, banners, badges, with orders pouring in from different political parties. Known for selling all kinds of election paraphernalia, the famous Sadar Bazaar in Old Delhi looks like a pale shadow of the past when it used to be brimming with buyers during the biggest festival of democracy. Traders here sell campaign material to all parties across the country. Surrounded by stacks of unsold campaign merchandise worth almost millions, shopkeepers admit that current sales are at their lowest point ever. डिजिटल मार्केटिंग स्ट्रैटेजी है पार्टीज की सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू व्हाट्सएप के थ्रू उसके चलते सेल्स पे इफेक्ट हुआ है
अभी काफ़ी फर्क पड़ा है हमारे बिजनेस पे जो डिजिटल मार्केटिंग है उससे फेसबुक व्हाट्सएप वगैरह पे जो पब्लिसिटी हो रही है उसका इस पे काफ़ी फर्क पड़ा है।
इस बार सेल्स कैसा रहा है आपका?
सेल इस बार बहुत कम है। झंडे हो गए, बैनर्स हो गए और ये बिल्ले वगैरह हो गए, इसी से ही मतलब थोड़ा प्रचार सामग्री होती है। इससे हर हाथ को काम मिलता है, गरीब को भी मिलता है, वो अमीर को भी मिलता है, मीडियम वर्ग को, हर वर्ग को काम मिलता है और इसका प्रचार भी होता है। इससे भी इलेक्शन में रंग आता है, उत्साह आता है। वो अभी थोड़ा इतना कम है लेकिन फिर भी ठीक ठाक है।
पर डे सेल्स आपका कितना था और अभी कितना है?
ये पहले पर डे सेल होता है 30,000, 35,000, 40,000, लाख भी होता था। अब तो 10, 5, 15 बस इससे ज़्यादा नहीं हो पा रहा है, लेकिन उसके अंदर मार्जिन नहीं है।
Compared to 2019, the digital spends of political parties have risen significantly in 2024. Elections are being fought not just on the streets but on social media as well. For context, political ad spends on Google alone have gone up 6 times over 2019 figures. Over 90 crores was spent on political advertisements on Google between 1st of March and 2nd of May this year. The BJP was the biggest advertiser, spending 30.9 crores, followed by the Congress at 27.6 crore.
डिमांड तो होना चाहिए, डिमांड नहीं होगा तो हम लोग तो खत्म ही हो जाएंगे भाई, हम तो खत्म ही हो जाएंगे अभी डिमांड नहीं होगा। डिमांड तो होना बहुत जरूरी है और डिमांड आएगा।
2014 और 2019 के मुकाबले इस साल की बिक्री की स्थिति क्या है?
2014 और 19 के मुकाबले इस बार 2024 में ना के बराबर है। काम धाम एकदम ख़त्म है इस बार। 2019 में तो कुछ काम था भी, इस बार तो अभी तक कुछ पता ही नहीं चल रहा है कि ये इलेक्शन चल रहा है।
Well, that was a lot of colors in just one shop. The colors of all political parties are visible and not just one party. However, traders of Sadar Bazaar said that there is a muted demand for poll merchandise this election season and hope that it will pick up in subsequent weeks. In Delhi with camera person Lakshman Singh, this is Meghna Sen for CNBC TV 18.
And West Bengal Governor C.V. Ananda has denied the allegations of sexual harassment made by a female staffer at Raj Bhavan. The governor said that he will not be cowed down by engineered narratives and described the allegations as an effort to malign him. The matter came to light after the woman approached the police inside the governor's house and said that she was sexually harassed twice. Constitutional immunity bars the police from naming the governor as an accused or even investigating this case during the term of his office. And trouble mounts for the Revanas in Karnataka. JDS MLA and former Prime Minister Deve Gowda's son, H.T. Revana, has been booked in a kidnapping case of a former house help who was among the many women seen in the tapes allegedly related to his son Prajwal. A 20-year-old filed an FIR alleging that Revana's associate abducted his mother. According to the FIR, the whereabouts of the woman are still unknown. And the Supreme Court has observed that it may need to consider an interim bail for Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal due to the ongoing elections. The Enforcement Directorate has argued that Kejriwal has not even applied for bail. The court will hear the matter once again on the 7th of May. Now, Go First's grounding has completed 1 year today. The resolution process has been underway for 12 months now, but there is no visible progress other than the bids submitted by 2 bidders, and that's in the month of February. Now, industry experts feel that the airline will most likely head towards liquidation. Madhya Mujawar recaps the tumultuous year for the airline and its various stakeholders. Madhya, thanks for joining us. What are the chances of revival resolution at this stage, or are we to expect a shutdown, closure, liquidation?
Well, the Delhi High Court's order on 26th April changed things drastically for Go First's revival. The court had ordered the aviation regulator DGCA to deregister all 54 leased aircraft that the airline had taken from various lessors. And this week, the DGC abided by that order, deregistering all the planes. So currently, the airline has no aircraft and also hardly has any employees. Now, most senior executives had quit months after the grounding when hopes of a revival had started to fade. The CEO Kaushik Khona had stepped down in November last year, and he had said that non-payment of salaries and the resolution professionals' failure to revive the airline has led him to resign. The 2 bidders, Busy Bee Ajay Singh Consortium and Sharjah-based Skywind, had submitted their bids in February. Now, will it make sense for them to buy an airline that has no aircraft and huge liabilities? That's the big question. And while Skywind is already a leasing company and could possibly arrange aircraft if it were to take over the airline, how will the Ajay Singh Busy Bee Consortium revive an airline that has no planes? Now, management consultancy firm Primus Partners told CNBC TV18 that minus the planes, the valuations given the liabilities will not be worth the effort for anyone interested in reviving the business. It added that there was a difference in valuation expectation between lenders and bidders even with the planes on the table. It further said that the key value is in land, slots and Pratt & Whitney engine arbitration case, which the creditors can realize themselves using liquidation proceedings and may not require a resolution. So the long stretch process which saw the NCLT extending deadlines 3 times has not yielded anything so far. Lessors did win the case after months of losses from unutilized planes, but do they get to fly the aircraft abroad, and are the planes in a condition to be flown after staying grounded for several months? The last 1 year has kept several employees, vendors, travel agents and passengers hoping for the airline's revival, and as things stand, a revival looks quite unlikely.
Right, Madhya, thanks a lot for that. A tough road ahead for the airline. Now, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you so much for watching. News and updates will continue right here on CNBC TV 18.